topics and talks about the reality of real-life marriage experiences that will help you understand the truth about what it really takes to build successful relationships so you can overcome your feeling of being alone, eliminate the fear of a failing relationship with your partner to experience a happier life in relationship. We don't have to live our lives unhappy in relationships. Instead, we choose to tap into our intuition and make the powerful choices to mirror our vision and become the solution for change to produce loving, supportive relationship in our lives. Get ready to have soulful marriage conversations. Let's go. Well, hey, thank you for joining me here on the Soulful Marriage Podcast. This is a bonus episode all about commitment. Topic is about how to determine if your partner is truly committed. You want to know if your partner is committed to the relationship. Is he committed to you? Is he committed to himself? That's what we want to know about commitment in relationships. It's not just about being in a place where you can commit to yourself alone or just the relationship as a whole, but everything, all things relationship that is going to affect you and your spouse as a couple, a power couple, is the commitment. I mean, your level of commitment is a very, very strong asset to your relationship. And if the commitment is not there, the relationship really is not. It could last, but it's going to be very challenging for you all to work through the mess of things that your lack thereof is going to create. But we're going to talk about this in this episode, and we're going to help you find some ways to help you in the process of your partner having a lacking of commitment, or even if you don't have a partner that's lacking commitment, still what do you need to do to make sure that you understand and you know without a shadow of a doubt that he is truly committed to you, himself, and the marriage. But I want to introduce you to something right quick before we get into the show. I want to share with you that I'm opening up my calendar for strategy sessions. I would love to join any and everyone that would love to have me. I only have a few spots open, but for those of you that are truly interested in joining me into a conversation, I want to invite you to send me an email at support@albanyriggins.com, and I want you to put in the topic, in the subject of the email, saying that you are looking for support. And just give me a little information about yourself, and also what are some of the 3 top situations that you are experiencing in your relationship and what you need help with, and also provide your contact information. The reason why I'm doing it in this pathway is because I want to get a general idea of what it is that you're experiencing, and I really want to know how serious you are, because if you go the extra step to actually send the email and discuss your issue, then you're really serious about getting support. It's easy to go into it, to jump on a phone call and just have a power talk with someone and then leave empty-handed, feeling, inspired. But when you send an email, you're actually really thinking about what it is that you want to say, what it is that you really want to get help with, and it makes you really think about the issues that you have that you're ready to unravel. So please, I invite you to. I'm going to be taking that for the first 10 people. So go ahead and submit your emails as soon as possible for the first 10 people that is a good fit. You also have to be a great fit to for us to work together. And we also need to be able to have a mutual connection. So I will be communicating with you. So do please remind yourself that you need to submit a good contact number and a general, just the general description of what it is that you're experiencing, what it is that you want help, what it is confusing, or what specific questions do you have that you need support with in your relationship. So send that to support@albanyriggins.com, and I will be connecting with you soon. So without further ado, let's talk about commitment. What is commitment? What is commitment in marriage? What is that all about? I see commitment as a situation between two individuals that you by yourself come into commitment with another individual, meaning that whatever you two agree upon, you agreed, first of all, in the hand of marriage. You are to be committed to that relationship. You made a vow to one another and you made promises to one another. And so you have to be committed to keep your words. And your commitment is tied into the integrity that you have for yourself, your partner, and your relationship. And as long as you continue to keep focus and maintain that focus and stay connected to that, that means that you're willing to try hard at what it is that you need to do to make that relationship work, to maintain your vows, to stay connected to who you are in your relationship and stay true to that and authentic to that, then you're committed. Now, the part that gets a little fuzzy when we talk about the commitment is, well, I'm having a little trouble with keeping my word. See, it's easy for us to say, well, I'm still in my marriage. I'm still married to the individual. I'm still committed to my marriage. But you have a problem staying connected to your word. You forget about "to death do us part," the part in between. I love you through sickness and health and all these other words that you said. So your word become a little bit foggy because when challenges come up, you forget about the commitment that you made. Sometimes people forget about their commitment. They fail to realize that you're supposed to be that emotional support to your partner, even when you don't feel like being that strong pillar in the relationship. You may not feel as strong. You may not feel available. Maybe sometimes you even check out the relationship from time to time and you don't even realize that you have done so. Then you have failed to commit. But as women, that's on the other receiving part, because you too have a part to play. It is your responsibility to uphold yourself, to be accountable to your relationship. So when you see that your partner is not successfully staying committed, that you are willing to address those issues. It is our responsibility for one another to make sure that we manage a successful relationship with our partner. Not just because you may experience where your partner is not doing something and you hold him responsible for his part, but you have to be responsible for your part too, is to making sure that you address the issues that keep showing up in your relationship. And that is your part of being committed to your marriage. He has to be committed and you have to be committed. Therefore, you both are committed to doing the work together. If I see my husband failing in an area, or there's some lack thereof in a specific area, I am so very quick to say, hey, I'm noticing this. We're not having conversations. I just had to tell my husband that just today that, look, we haven't been talking like we need to talk. There is a conversation that needs to be had because there's something that we are missing and it's a problem. And there's nothing wrong with addressing it. It's just the fact, is he going to be open enough to be receptive to that? And no, it's not a hard conversation to have. It's just simply saying, you know what, you're right. We do need to address it. But if he's not ready, then all he has to do is say, right now I'm not ready for it though. I'm not ready to address whatever it is. I feel like if we do address it, it may create an argument. I feel like, hey, I just feel like I'm a little bit confused around the subject. So I think, hey, can we address this at another time? There's always ways to be committed, but not have to address an issue at a specific time. I mean, long as you're willing to do the work, long as you're willing to have those conversations, long as you're willing to be accountable to one another, then I think that you can savor a lot of disruption in your marriage, but also can savor a lot of confusion. So I'm just really open to that. And I just hope that you are really paying attention to your actions and your intentions. Put some intentions in place when you're actually looking at the situations that you're having. Set some intentions. Your intentions are so powerful because they can create a mighty difference in your relationship. So that is the first thing. Are you committed by being accountable for one another? Your commitment to your marriage means that you both have to be committed to the situations that come up, to the circumstances that you're experiencing. Are you committed through your accountability? Another way that you can tell that if your partner is truly committed is that is he willing to listen? And that is something that you really can find out. I mean, he might not want to have those conversations. There may be times when you don't even want to have those conversations. But are you willing to listen? Or do you really just push your partner away? I mean, simply like if I came in the room and my husband was in the room and he said, there's some things that you've done in the last 2 weeks that I really, really am kind of confused and I don't even understand. I feel like you don't care nothing about my feelings. If he opened up to me and said that, the first thing I would think, of course it may be, oh, you're so annoying, right? No, seriously. I would probably think like, okay, what is it now? Like really, what is it? The second thing I would think very quickly is that, okay, if I'm aware, you have to be present, you have to be aware of what's going on, that there is a situation that he has seen that is a problem for him and I need to pay attention. And so I need to go deeper and ask the question, well, what is it that is bothering you, sweetie? I need to be ready and willing to listen to his cry, his complaint, his argument, whatever the case may be, because guess what? Whether it's important to me or not, or whether it's annoying to me or not, whether it's silly to me or not, it's something to him. And until we get into a place where we can receive one another respectively and honor whatever it is that they see that needs to be addressed, we'll always be in conflict with one another. So be willing to listen. So if your partner is not willing to listen to you, and that's where that feeling of not being heard, not feeling cherished, not being understood, because if your partner is not listening to what you're crying out to him, especially if you've been crying out for some time, that is a cure. That is a sign, most definitely, that he's not committed. There's something wrong. There's a disconnect. And I'm not talking about committed to the relationship, like he may be somewhere having an affair. I'm not talking about that. But what I'm saying is that he's not committed to really focus in on moving in a healthy way in their relationship. He's not truly put his heart and soul in it. There has been a disconnect somewhere, and you need to reel him back in to help him to understand what it is that you both need together in order to make the relationship better. Sometimes we get lost. We get lost in the busyness of life because we're workaholics. Sometimes we're caught up in just something new, a new passion that we have found, and we get lost in that and we fail to pay attention to what our partners need. So sometimes that commitment can be dropped just in those situations. Or there can just be, he's just out of tune right now. He's under stress. He's, really kind of like struggling with some things. Maybe there's some things on the job that he's struggling with. Maybe there's some things with the finances that are just really not adding up, and he's struggling with that. And so really he's not paying attention as you would like him to do. So be very sensitive to what it is that he may not be sharing with you. So that's the step for you to do. When he is not listening, be sensitive and not judging, but ask him, why is he so busy, or is he so occupied that he's not making time to listen, or he's not making it a choice to really understand what it is that you are asking him for? He really needs to understand that you noticed it. And it's okay to address it, but I feel that we need to be very careful the way we address things. And this is something that I have to observe every day, and I have to sometimes come back and retract things that I've said because they are hurtful, because sometimes we don't know the place that our partner's in at that moment. We don't know what they're experiencing every day. Just because we sleep in the same bed with them, that doesn't mean that we know everything that's going on with them. So we have to be sensitive to their needs. I can share with you a big struggle that I'm having right now. And I'm going to be very open and vulnerable with you, because I think it's important for you to know that, everybody has a place and a time that they go through challenges in life. And there's no limitation to that. You're going to have an unlimited amount of challenges that you're going to go through over a lifetime in your relationship. And there's no specific time nor date that you can put on it. They're going to come and go. And sometimes problems come when there is a loss of a loved one. Sometimes there's challenges that's going to come because you have struggles with your finances. There are going to come times when there's struggles because your partner is experiencing trials on his job. Maybe he's about to, some people on the job is losing. I know in my company that I work for, people are losing their jobs, and these people have to go home to their loved ones and face them and say, hey, I don't have a job. And they're struggling with that. They've been working for this company for years. Some of them are forcing retirement. Some people are walking into retirement because they're ready, and some people aren't ready. But there are many things that you're going to go through. Maybe you may be even experiencing struggles with your children. Your children may be acting out, and that causes stress on their marriage. But for me, I have stress in my marriage because my husband lost his mother. And it has been such a trying situation, and it's been about 10 months that I've been struggling to find my way. This is new for me. This is a new trial. Everything is not going to be the same. As you grow in your marriage and you go through time in your marriage, you're going to go through new struggles, and you're going to have to learn how to adapt to situations on different occasions. And this is just one of my trials. And I can honestly tell you that I don't know what the end is going to be like. But all I know is that right now I'm taking it one step at a time, one day at a time. And I'm really, really observant of what's going on around me. And I encourage you to do the same. If you're in a situation where you feel like your partner is not committed, then you find out what's the deal. I had to do the same thing. I had to find out what's the deal, because I felt like he wasn't committed to me because of the loss. And it's because he's hurting, he's grieving, and he's being lack in some areas in our relationship. Now, can I fault him for that? I think it's, you got to pick your battles. But at the same time, I still believe in accountability. I still believe that there's choices to be made. And I've heard so many stories that people have lost their marriages because loss of a loved one. People have lost their marriages because of children, stepchildren. People have lost their marriages because of their exes. People have lost their marriages because people lose their commitment. I mean, people forget, or people don't want to no longer commit. And just because your partner is saying that, his actions may be showing he's not committed right now, doesn't mean that the marriage won't work. It just means that you got to work through it. Now, there's a possibility that your marriage can be so successful, and it can even grow stronger through this trial, or it could even end up in something bad. It could end up in a separation, a divorce. But I want you to know that even I have to look at those situations just like you. What is the end result? What is going to be the next step? But I want to encourage you that you have to be an observer of what's going on and be committed to being aware of what's going on in your marriage. Do not fail to be committed to yourself about your awareness. Be present. Pay attention to what's going on, because the signs are there. Things that you need to look at and things that you need to address will show up every day if you're present. If you're not present and aware, then you will fail at seeing the things that need to be brought to your attention and your partner's attention. So that's a number 3. Being aware and being present. Because if you get lost in space and you focusing on your problems, you're focusing on the past and all of the other bad decisions, bad choices, problems that you had in the past, you will fail to look at what's going on right now. So he may be hurting, so you have to stay present and aware, or there may be some struggles that he's dealing with, the reason why he may have lost his way, and that may be showing in a lack of commitment in your relationship. So be aware of what's really truly going on behind the scenes, because even though your partner may have been struggling with some of these things, and there may have been some time that has passed with this situation, and you feel like right now they should be over it, but some people don't get over things as quickly as others. So when you notice that there has been a time that has went by and your partner's still struggling, then there is going to be a lack of commitment, because they're still in a place of they're not restored. And the only way they can get back to a place of restoration is that they may have to have some additional support. That may be a place where you actually go to them and ask them, how can you support them better? Or ask them, would they be willing to go to counseling? Or even calling on your power couples. I like to call them power couples. People that you have a circle of people and community of people in your life that are on the same pathway that you are. They may be a couple of steps ahead of you, but they're individuals that share the same values as you, and they're working on building successful relationships with their partner. And those are the people that you want to call on and say, hey, we need some support. Come invite them to your home and have dinner and have a conversation around the table about, some things that you're struggling with. But be respectful and be mindful to your partner, because he may not be open to it. So you want to be very careful how you set this date up. And I call it a date because you do need to set it up as a date. A date with your partner, with other couples, that y'all can sit down and talk through the things. Because sometimes it does take a mediator to come in and help you really see clear about what it is that you're actually experiencing. Sometimes things don't work without a mediator. Sometimes you can't see what you can't see. So sometimes you have to call on that third person to actually help you see what you don't see. And there's totally nothing wrong with it. So that is the third thing. If your partner says, hey, I don't want to do this. I don't want to talk to no one. There's not a problem. I think you are you being a little bit too much, and you are misunderstanding what's truly going on, and he's still disconnected, then I think that is another sign that he's not committed, and there is some underlying issues that you need to work through. And those may be some big barriers that you have to uncover, but you can do it. It just takes time, patience, and effort. And you have to ask yourself some very powerful questions. Are you willing to do the work, first of all? That's the first question you have to ask yourself. Is this problem that you're facing so overwhelming that you don't even feel like doing the work that it's going to take to make it work, to get through it all? Do you have the strength and the pizzazz? Do you have the charisma to have those conversations and expose what you're really truly feeling and put it all on the table before your friends or before a counselor or a coach and just really talk through it? Or are you too weighed down because you've been struggling with it for so long, or you feel like he just doesn't get it? So those are things you want to ask yourself, because if you yourself have gotten tired and weary, then you need to go get help first before you try to bring your partner to a place where he can understand what it is that you're experiencing from what you feel that he's lacking, and which is the commitment in your relationship. I can tell you that this vulnerable situation I just shared about, the struggle that I have in my marriage currently right now, is because of the loss of my husband's mother. He lost his commitment to his marriage. He lost his commitment to himself. He lost his commitment to his life. And this is a life-changing situation. He told me specifically that he had nothing else to live for. And that's hard to hear from your husband, especially when you know that your husband has been one of the persons that has always been upbeat and motivated. And to hear him say that, it's very challenging, and it gets very taxing to see him not wanting to do anything, and just really discouraging. It's very discouraging because he's not the same, and I don't know if he would ever be the same. I don't think you can be the same person you was. I think when you lose a loved one that's close to you, I think a part of you dies with them, and I think that's what happened in my husband's life. And I just try to be as much support as I can. I try to give him his space, but I also try to encourage him to know that we love him, but we're here for him, because sometimes I feel like sometimes I feel like he forgets that we're here. You know, I know that you lost your mom, but your family is still here, and we need you just as much as you feel that you need your mom. We are here, and we're here to support you through your grieving. But it takes someone that's willing to open up and let you in for you to be able to be there for them. If they don't let you in, it's going to be very, very hard for them to see that you're really there. Sometimes I don't feel like he even see me, because he's caught up in his emotions and his feelings, and that's okay. He's grieving. But the question I must ask myself is, how long? How long? 10 months? I feel like right now should be a time of seeking help. If it's been 10 months and he's still in the process of not really connecting to his family the way he needs to or should be, and maybe in his eyes, he feels like, well, I'm here, I'm connecting, but I see a disconnect. When you are really an observer of your relationship, as I am being a relationship coach, I observe a lot of things, and I write and I journal, and I pay attention to a lot of things, and I try to practice what I preach. I'm realizing that there's a huge disconnect that he's not able to see. But I just want to send encouraging words, because I'm not a victim, and this is not to just having this conversation is not to disempower me at all. It's just to let you know that you're not alone, because I'm not wanting to be a victim. Instead, I choose to take my power back, because there was a time in this situation in the beginning where I lost my power, meaning that I lost my way. I had to find my way through it all, because it was so heavy. It was so deep for me that I got very discouraged early on in this time of this loss of my mother-in-law. I got lost in the shuffle of things. There was a lot of struggles in the beginning. There's still some struggles, but I'm swimming above the water. And I'm so proud of myself, because I understand that even in this, it's still a choice that I have to make for myself. I have to still continue to live the life that I desire to live, and it still has to align to my vision. And I still have to be connected to my husband to help him along the journey. And even though this is a new journey for me, I have to learn through this experience so that I can help someone else, because this is new. And because it's new, it's something that I really want to observe. I really want to pay attention to every moment of this situation, so that I can clearly be able to define what was the turning point, What was the mistakes that I made? What was the thing that I had to give up? What was the thing that I had to be okay with? I don't know what the end's going to be like, but I'm taking it one step at a time. And that's what I want to encourage you to do as well in your process of gaining that commitment back from your partner, getting him to get back committed to the relationship. And I think that if you follow the 3 steps that I gave you, the 4 steps I gave you, I think it will help you to be well on your way to understanding if your partner has lost his commitment and what things you should be doing in order to help him get back into commitment to you, your relationship, and himself. Because integrity is everything, and you want to have self-integrity as well as your partner. And if you lose your integrity, you lose your commitment. So I thank you for joining me here on the Soulful Marriage podcast, Soulful Marriage Conversations podcast. I hope you have enjoyed this bonus episode, and I hope to see you on the next episode. I ask you to please share with a friend. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to this podcast and give us a comment. Give us a comment, you guys. I love to see you. I love to hear from you. Please submit an email to me at support@albanyriggins.com. Again, send your emails to me at albanyriggins.com. And I also want to tell you that I have some slots open for coaching. I would like for you, if you would like to be one of the many that I will select if we are a good fit for one another, send me your email. Send me your email to support@albanyriggins.com. Put in the subject line, I would love support. And just tell me a little bit about yourself, your situation, what you would like to discuss, and your struggles, your top 3 struggles, and your good contact information. I'll see you in the next episode. See you soon.